Good afternoon and welcome to Round 9 NPLW WA action live from Kingsway in the northern suburbs as Northern Redbacks host Balcatta in today's commentary match here on the Football West YouTube channel and Facebook pages. Thanks for your company on this Sunday. My name's Tommy Dolman. We've got a massive game on our hands today as the race for the top 4 places heats up in season 2020. Since losing here against leaders Mum FC at the start of the month, the Redbacks have found form and are on a 3-game unbeaten run. The headline game in that spell was a 1-0 win at Dorrien Gardens over a Perth team they continue to try and chase down as they eye off a home final at the end of the month. It's been a big few weeks for WA's most successful women's club with 6 pointers against Fremantle and the NTC also looming in the race for the top 4, so 3 points here against one of those contenders in Balcatta will be a welcome tonic for the hosts should they get it. Balcatta, meanwhile, will be desperate to return to the winners list after defeats to Fremantle City and Mum FC in the space of 4 days last week, which has somewhat stalled their season, although they are still in touch with the pack that is chasing for the top 4. Those results did drop Lisa Tanner's team out of the top 4, though, for the first time since round 5, but that 11-0 win over Subiaco recently may just remind some that their firepower is still intact. They are without Christy Astorp again today, but a win would bring them level on points with today's opponents and ensure they remain right in the shake-up heading into the final month of the campaign. Referee team this afternoon. Lotta Ferry has the whistle in the middle. He'll be the main official this afternoon and he'll be assisted by Godfrey Maniam and Libby Caldwell as well. Perfect day for football here in Perth's northern suburbs. Barely a cloud in the sky. Barely any breeze of note either, so no excuses for the players today. And this is supposedly the last day of winter as well. So this is a potentially massive day for the makeup of the top 4 as third hosts fifth here at Kingsway Reserve, some half an hour after the completion of NTC versus Fremantle. The form lines differ for both teams today, but in this tight, even season, who knows what may unfold this afternoon. We certainly can't wait to find out. It's round 9 NPLW WA action here this afternoon live on the Football West Facebook page and YouTube channel. As we get underway upfield with Balcatta kicking from the left to the right of your screen in their changed white jersey today with blue shorts. The Redbacks, of course, wearing the traditional red jersey with black shorts, kicking from the right to the left of your screen as McCartney is in possession here and getting it forward for Balcatta here. Godding makes the charge through midfield. Panea back to Godding, clipping the area. Douglas is hunting that one down on the penalty spot, and she nearly caused Kim Carroll a problem there for a moment. Good goalkeeping, though, from Maya Diedrichsen, who's back in the starting lineup today. She deputised for Morgan Aquino during rounds 5 to 7, but after Aquino came back in just for the one game last week, Diedrichsen is back in the team. There's 2 players go to ground there, and the decision goes against Angelique Alberts on this right-hand side. Big performance from Diedrichsen just to finish as well, in particular at Dorrien Gardens. It was an awful winter's afternoon, I recall that one. Those are the sorts of day you really need your experienced goalkeepers to step in, and she certainly did that with a number of crucial saves that afternoon. As ball over the top from Bates is not on the save wavelength of any of her teammates. Sarah Carroll. Emily Dunn forward now. Redbacks just feeling their way into the game a little bit. Some early possession. Very much early stages here, of course. 4 games in round 9 of the NPLW WA this afternoon. The earlier game we did mention, which we won't reveal the score of, just in case you wanted to watch that one later on. We've also got Subiaco and Perth kicking off at the same time as this, and then right after we go off air, it's Curtin University versus Murdoch University, the campus showdown, as the Redbacks are in behind the defence here. The cross in the middle is a dangerous one. Tinu Bali was arriving at the back post, and Noscent was under severe pressure there, and in the end it was a good foot in from Godding, who was back supporting, and now charging forward is Douglas, who's looking to lead the counter-attack. She's got plenty of support here on this right-hand side, but Alberts and Noscent possibly a little miscommunication there, as Noscent just checked her run slightly, perhaps thinking Alberts was going to get involved in that pass from Douglas. As we touched on in the pre-game, both of these teams have had slightly different form lines in recent weeks. Redbacks winning 2 of their last 3 games, both on the road in fact. They did draw here in their last home game at home to Curtin. 1-1 that afternoon, bit of a frustrating day, although Curtin were probably worth their point with the chances they created at the end, and Balcatta are hoping to give the Redbacks some similar problems on the counter-attack here, but straying offside I think was Alford on that far side. Balcatta meanwhile had that huge 11-0 win down at Rosalie Park a couple of weeks ago. I don't see many scores like that these days at any level, really. And since then, they've had 2 really tough games against Fremantle City and Mum FC, and they've had a couple of injuries to contend with as well, the most noticeable being their equal top scorer, Christy Astorp. They've made a decent start here this afternoon, although Douglas's cross was a little light and easily cleared away, and now Veroni will pass into the feet of Godding. She's got Diopera in support on her outside. Nice link-up play here from Balcatta as Alford tries to get on the return pass, but weight wasn't quite on it, and in the end the Redbacks are able to concede a throw. Crossing in the middle, over the head of everybody in the end. Back post is Alberts, who manages to get there first, and then turning away was Saint-Pierre there really well to snuff out the danger. It's not over just yet, though, as Noscent gets the ball in. Alford was lurking. Clearance was a little desperate from the Redbacks again, and then the ball back forward from Diopera. I'm not sure who she was trying to pick out there, but pass was wayward nevertheless. But this has been a good start from the visitors. They had a tough time of it last week at Grindleford Reserve against Mum FC. Well, certainly started on the front foot this afternoon, though. Here's Gabby Del Busco in goal for Balcatta. Launching that one forward. Excellent distribution, but no one was there for Panea's flick on. done forward. Moth tries to flick on. It'll be brought down eventually by Douglas. Redbacks trying to get a bit of rhythm. That's a lovely turn from Carroll. She goes for the return. Pass from Leota. Just a little sign there that some of the Redbacks' experienced names are making their way into the contest this afternoon as Diopera puts that one into touch over on that far side. Still goalless here, early stages at Kingsway Reserve. Big game potentially in the shake-up for the top four this season. As Billam gets to the ball before Douglas. It's still here for Continue Barley on this left-hand side if she can twist and get away from Nossen, but she can't. And in the end, the Balcatta fullback does a really good job to win the throw-in for her team. A really good relationship down that right-hand side to Nossent and Alberts, usually on the same wavelength, aside from that little miscommunication earlier, but we've seen them a few times this season. They have been very impressive as ball drops to McMurdo here, crosses a deep one. Some was in the eyes of Diopera, but she did well to head that clear, and then Alford completes the clearance. It's only going to go as far as Dunn, though, and back it'll come for the moment now. Stepping in there was Godding, who did really well to release Douglas, who's off to the races here. She's got two ahead of her. One of them's Panea, the other is Alberts, and now Godding continued her run forward in support. Crosses a dangerous-looking one. It took a good header from Dunn, and then Alberts just couldn't quite catch the volley. A couple of times this afternoon, though, we've seen the pace of Balcatta breaking, particularly down this right-hand side, but through the middle as well with Douglas. Moth. Douglas. Double Douglas, of course. Today with Caitlin and Melanie playing on opposite sides. Ball forward's a good one here for Panea. Diedrichson's out of her goal. Panea's through here, but she couldn't quite wrap the ball around Diedrichson, who did well to make herself really difficult for Panea to strike around. A little opening there for Balcatta, which even caught me by surprise, to be honest. Those willing runs into the channel, really stretching the Redbacks back four in these early stages as Dunn looks wider to Katie Moth, who got her first goal of the season last week in that win down at Subiaco, the 4-0 one. Did come off the bench that afternoon against Perth, did Katie Moth, and impressed in her cameo. Clearly well enough for her to start the last three games as it stands now, as Godding makes headway down this right-hand side. Again, the cross is a good one here. Open in the middle was Bates, whose first touch just let her down slightly. She was in plenty of room if she could have brought that down. And now Diopera's ball forward will be allowed to sail wide by Diedrichson, but Godding's proved to be a real live wire so far across the ground. She's basically covered every blade of grass inside these first 10 minutes or so, and charging down that right-hand side. It was a great ball for Bates, who was arriving late on the scene, and just that first touch let her down slightly, but encouraging signs for Balcatta nevertheless as Panea gets on the ball again. She looks across for Douglas, who gets past St. Pierre but doesn't get past experienced Kim Carroll back there. 54 caps with the Matildas. Kim Carroll, over 100 W League games as well with the Glory. An ever-present player in this Redbacks rearguard in season 2020. Now Douglas for the Redbacks, trying to get the better of Veroni, who does well to keep pace. Still Douglas is on the ball. She waits support. She gets it now in the form of Sarah Carroll, who takes a touch around Bates. It's Carroll. She'll find Douglas on this right-hand side. Ball to the back post, a good one. And arriving on the scene late was McMurdo, I think. And that's the best chance the home team have had so far. Great play from Melanie Douglas on two occasions there. First driving forward, then getting the cross into the penalty area. Really dangerous one as well. Del Bosco wasn't sure whether to throw a hand at it or not. In the end, she left it, and that may have just put McMurdo off enough to ensure she scooped it over the bar, as Alberts will play a ball across looking for Alford, but that one will be intercepted by Moth, who looks to get something going down this right-hand side. A really busy game with Melanie Douglas on that right-hand side last week, as possessions turned over once more. McMurdo was fouled by Godding, and that'll give the Redbacks a free kick in a decent position. Redbacks coach Conrad McKelvey just giving some instruction to his player down there. Long-term involvement with this successful women's club, of course. Coach of the year last year as well in 2019 with the league and cup double they won. As Carroll's ball forward, Del Bosco comes, she gets a glove on it, and it was a good punch in the end to find Douglas. Now Alford. Balcatta looking to get the counter-attack running again, and that's a nice ball for Godding if Panea can get on the end of it, but that was good covering from Dunn, who got back, and then Diedrichsen played a risky one too with a centre-half, but cool, calm and composed as it turned out. Billen. Clip around the corner. Didn't find Douglas, but Douglas goes back for seconds and wins the ball back. Now Carroll, who's playing a deeper role to what she was earlier in the season. Sarah Carroll, she got those 4 goals against Subiaco in round 1, actually. Her last goal was in the reverse fixture against Balcatta over at Grindleford Reserve. That was a 1-1 draw that afternoon, with Sarah Carroll scoring the goal in that game, and Caitlin Douglas, unsurprisingly, getting on the score sheet for the Grindleford Reserve outfit. Yet to get on the score sheet, though, Sarah Carroll, since that game against Balcatta in round 4, as Alberts does really well to skip past St. Pierre. Now she's got players at the back post if the cross is good enough. Moth did well to get back, and now Balcatta recycled possession, but Alford's ball was a little too heavy for Panea to become interested in. So Redbacks play out from defence once more, somewhat unsuccessfully, although Douglas makes it look pretty good in the end, and her release for Leota was a good looking one, but Reading the play really well was McCartney. Former player of the Northern Redbacks, of course, Kim McCartney. Now at the other end, Douglas will skip into the area, cut out by Kim Carroll though. Goalless at the moment between these two teams, vying for top 4 honours at the end of the season, live on the Football West YouTube channel and Facebook page. Great to have your company with us this afternoon for NPLW WA clashes, live on the channels to sink your teeth into this afternoon. And this has been a pretty good tempo about this one. Both teams attacking with a bit of zest and really trying to get the ball moving, take risks, play out from the back. It's making it pretty easy on the eye as far as a viewing spectacle. No, we're goalless at the moment, but both of these teams are in the top half of the table when it comes to the attack stats. Balcatta second, 21 goals in their 8 games to date, although 11 of those did come against Subiaco, of course, while Redbacks 16 goals in 8 games. Incidentally, the Redbacks have the second best defence in the league as well. Have conceded just the 1 goal more than leaders Mum FC, who form team of the competition. But as we've seen in this NPLW WA season so far, any team can beat any team on their day. It's been a tremendous first season of the women's NPL competition here in WA. It's been really good fun bringing it to you, and we hope you've enjoyed all the games. Here's Dunn, who scored 2 goals for the Redbacks under 23s against Balcatta back in round 4. Wasn't in the starting 11 that day. She's made her way in since. Carroll, good pass for Leota. That's an exquisite turn and well on the release for Douglas is a dangerous one. Del Bosco came out and did a really good job in blocking. Using some of that W League and Young Matilda's experience there. Gabby Del Bosco, she was the Goldfields WA state team keeper last season as well. One of the best number 1s in this league. Now here's Continibali. A little pass inside for Carroll's a good one. She tries to just tickle one through for the run of Douglas, but not quite enough weight on the pass. Real nice ebb and flow to this game at the moment. Just feel the Redbacks are starting to get on the ball a little bit more, enjoy a little bit more possession, and the Balcatta are possibly quite happy in counter-attacking and really springing forward with that pace as the Redbacks win possession back once again. Continibali, McMurdo. Back to Continibali again, who tries to skip past the live wire Godding. No such success though. Great also to be at this new facility here at Kingsway. A big sporting complex here. Recent upgrades to the facilities here provided by the local government have really set up a nice arena here for the players to play at. Pitch is looking pretty good as well, all things considered, with the recent winter weather that we've had, as Douglas looks to lift the ball through for the run of Leosa, but Noscent was back defending. The Redbacks have been playing their home games for the NPLW here in season 2020. Based in Balga predominantly over the years. And we're actually founded as Morley Windmills before becoming Sterling Reds in 1993, before being rebranded as the Redbacks in 2003, and they've been that way since. Time winners in their existence since 1991, as Alford's ball into the area is a dangerous one. Heading that one the way is Carroll. Alford will have another go with the first time cross. It breaks down and lands at the feet of McMurdo, who puts it through the legs of her opponent and then looks to launch a long ball forward looking for Leota. Billum. McMurdo again. Switch of the play for Janelle St. Pierre. In her first season at the club, but making her first appearance on the pitch since round 2. Ball forward's a great one here. Now Carroll's in behind the defence and striking tremendously into the back of the net. She's broken her goal drought, Sarah Carroll. She's back in the mix. Goal number 6 for this NPLW WA campaign. And it's the Redbacks 1, Balcatta 0. So the Redbacks are on the board here at Olympic Kingsway. Goal scored by Sarah Carroll. Her first goal since round 4 against today's opponents at Grindleford Reserve. 4 goals in round 1, 1 against Balcatta, and then her 6th of the season this afternoon. The Redbacks dispute that decision from referee Salota Feely on the field. A lovely breaking ball from the back as well, which set Carroll on her way, and with all of that A-League experience with the Glory, she was always going to be a strong chance of putting that one in the back of the net. Now, what have Balcatta got in response? They started brightly here, but Redbacks have just asserted their control on proceedings recently, and they've got the goal to reward their efforts as Bates tries to feed Alford, who just went a little bit too early. Scored in every home game this season have the Redbacks, and that streak continues this afternoon with that Sarah Carroll goal. One, two, drawn one, and lost one here so far this season. As Billum finds the feet of Carroll temporarily, but then Balcatta get a foot in and look to once again launch, but this time the Redbacks are swarming and getting numbers around the ball to break down these counter-attacks quickly. It's going to be key if they are to hold on and get the 3 points today, as McMurdo, just see her starting to get a little bit more involved in the game in recent times, and that was a nice looking pass out for Douglas, so I think lost it in the sun temporarily. Does well to retrieve it though. She'll give it back to McMurdo, who drives. Deflection was off McCartney, and in the end it took the sting off the shot, and Del Bosco was able to gather without any complications. Leota. Pass was a narrow one for Carroll, who has just pushed forward again. She looks to have swapped with Leota, who's dropped into that deeper role. Very flexible unit are the Redbacks. They are still missing a couple of players as well. No Carla Bennett today, no Larissa Walsh. And no Georgia Corley either, who scored that stunning goal from just inside halfway against Mom FC. It was a consolation in vain, but a tremendous strike that stumped Cornish nevertheless, as Douglas retreats back to Dunn. Dunn again. Pass was looking for Leota to spin off her opposite marker, but a little too heavy in the end for the Football Ferns International. 15 caps for New Zealand, of course, Renee Leota. Played in the 2008 Beijing Olympics. And 3 under-20 World Cups as well. She's done a bit of everything this season, Leota. She even played in goal in the corresponding fixture when Morgan Aquino got injured. Saint-Pierre's pass was a little miscued, and that will allow Alford to feed Panea, who's the highest up at the moment. She waits for the support. It comes now in the form of Douglas, who's one-on-one with Carroll. It's Caitlin Douglas who's striking, and Carroll is blocking. That touch off Godding just helps Balcatta retain possession, and now they come forward down this right-hand side as Douglas turns for Noscent. Coming inside on her left foot. Driven cross is a dangerous one. Bates is in there. It'll break for Alford. Good save, Diedrichsen. Georgia Alford was in. Plenty of space at the back post there, and Bates did really well to battle for possession in the mixer, and in the end that shot was an attempt to sneak it in at the near post of Diedrichsen, but the experienced stopper was down low to turn it around the corner, but it does give Balcatta their first corner of the afternoon. It's Douglas who's whipping it in. It's a dangerous looking one. Carroll heads away. It'll come to McCartney, who'll fancy her chances here, but just got under the attempted volley. Pretty good response from Balcatta after going behind to that Sarah Carroll goal. worry for Balcatta, as we touched on earlier, is that the Redbacks do have the second best defence in the league this season, but we have seen plenty of encouraging signs nevertheless from the visitors as Douglas spins away. It may get run to Alford. It does, and she finds Bates. Now, Alford's continued her run here. I think she's onside. She is. First time ball was a dangerous one. Godding was lurking. Carroll was stepping in, and the Redbacks can eventually clear away. Douglas tries to roll off the Opera, but it was good defending from the fullback, and then Moth just tries to gain a bit of distance, but in doing so returns the ball back to Balcatta. Probably having their best spell of the match in possession so far. They've been largely dealing in counter-attacks so far, but on this occasion Veroni loses out to Douglas. Melanie, that is. Try and keep you in check with the Douglases and the Carrolls out there this afternoon. Here's one of them now, Kim. Continue Barley, time to bring down and turn. Stepping in was Nossent. Ex-Bassendean Caledonians. Also played futsal with a couple of her teammates, Kim McCartney and Christy Astorp, who is out of the team, of course, remember today. Alberts, Godding. Waits for the support of Nossent, who's quickly getting closed down by Continue Barley, and in the end that pressure was good enough to help the ball land at the feet of McMurdo, who wins the free kick. Body check was from Godding there. Godding's just asking the referee, what am I supposed to do there? A combative player in the centre of the park. Forward from Carroll. Header from McCartney. Turned over her shoulder by Douglas for Panea, who's been playing as the almost a false nine this afternoon for Balcatta. We've seen her mostly playing in those wider positions this season. St. Pierre's early throw was a good one for Conteni Barley, who nearly made that work, but good strength from Nossent, who tries to shield it out, and in the end Conteni Barley fought really hard and won her team a corner. Sterling Panthers player Lauren Conteni Barley really made an impression in recent weeks. That stunning winner at Dorrien Gardens and then a nice volley last week against Subiaco the fourth. She's taking this set piece, but disappointing one beyond that near post and out for a goal kick. Lisa Tanner just sending her substitutes for a little warm-up. Very young bench for Balcatta today. A lot of under-23s players backing up from the game before. I did speak about those injuries that they do have. So the likes of Christy Astorp and Chelsea Winchcombe, no Cass Harvey today either. Panea. Good ball forward to make something out of nothing and release Alberts, but ball had already crossed the line before she could keep it in play. Leota. Done. Good strength from Douglas. Runs all the way through to Veroni, and now Bates will seek a pass ahead of her. Fired into the boots of Panea, who possibly didn't anticipate the pace of a real dart that was pinged at her by Bates. Nossent's ball forward. Douglas will get on the end of this. Alberts is arriving in the area. At the back post is Alford. It was cleared by Dunn. Panea! Sliced at it and didn't quite keep her head over the ball, unfortunately. It was a good opening, though, for Balcatta once again, and it came in the form of that counter-attack down the right-hand side. Carroll, Continibali looks to skip past Nossent again, but both equally won that tussle in the end, although Nossent had the last laugh. Now McMurdo, pass was a little away from Continibali, and then Nossent copped that clearance from Godding pretty hard. Back on her feet now, though. Douglas. Cut out by Godding. Pass a little wayward for Panea, and again you just get the sense the Redbacks are just trying to get this game under control after that little bright period from Balcatta. Now Continibali is running at Nossent. The shot at goal didn't take a deflection, and the referee signals for a goal kick. One of the most successful teams in WA football, full stop, the Redbacks. Let alone the fact they are the most successful women's team. 15-time winners in the 29 years they have existed. A huge growth in particular in the past 5 years, with many juniors and seniors teams forming, just really sort of cultivating that next generation of girls football players. They won 8 titles across the club in 2019. As Nossent prods through for Alberts, who does really well to put through the legs of St. Pierre. Clearance from McMurdo, cross from Nossent. Alford was lurking. Billum half completed the clearance. Here's Caitlin Douglas in the area. She didn't quite catch it, though. Those crosses are just worrying the Redbacks here a little bit, I think, and in particular, Alford's found quite a bit of space at the back post from those deep balls over. Panea, Nossent, Douglas. Pass was just away from her. Panea was really tenacious in winning that back. Now Alford's in a stack of space over at the back post if she can get it out there, but she played ahead for Douglas instead. It was probably the right pass to make in the end, but once again just highlighting that space we spoke about for Alford a moment ago as Redbacks look to counter forward through Moth, but Carroll elects to go all the way back to Dunn instead. Redbacks 1, Balcatta FC 0. Live on the Football West YouTube channel and Facebook pages here this afternoon for you. Tremendous conditions for football, and we've seen a pretty good game as well. Chances at both ends, really good tempo as McMurdo's release was nearly inch perfect for Leota, who just spun off the shoulder of a defender there. Balcatta will try and get the counter-attack going again. Dunn was determined. Bates then won the 50-50 with her at the second time of asking. Billam charged down by Bates, who's really put herself about in the centre of the park this afternoon. This is something that the Redbacks have done really well this afternoon, is win the ball quickly in those tight spaces, and that's part of the reason why they go into the break ahead by a 1-0, a goal provided to them by Sarah Carroll, her first goal since scoring against Balcatta in the reverse fixture earlier in the season, her 6th of the campaign, but Balcatta have been pretty bright at the other end as well. Plenty of space, particularly at the back post for Georgia Alford, who forced Maya Diedrichsen into a good low save midway through the half, and then Caitlin Douglas with a snapshot in the penalty area leading into the half-time break. Just didn't quite catch it, and the stopper was able to gather pretty easily, but at the break here, it's Redbacks 1, Balcatta FC 0. Good game here, live on the Football West YouTube channel and Facebook pages. We'll be back with you shortly for the second half. Welcome back to the second half of this round 9 NPLW WA clash between the Northern Redbacks and Balcatta FC here at Kingsway Reserve. No changes from either team during the half-time break, so we start the second half as we started the first, although the main difference is that the Redbacks have a goal to show for their opening 45 minutes, provided to them by Sarah Carroll, but it's been a really good game so far, this one. Chances at both ends, and I'd be surprised if we didn't see the back of the net ripple at least once more in this second period as the Redbacks get us underway here and immediately look to get the ball to feet and maintain a little bit of that control which served them so well for patches of that first half. Whenever Balcatta got a little bit of fire in their bellies and a little bit of wind in their sails, they were able to retain the ball nicely and just slow the pace of the game. As Douglas looks to march down this right-hand side, ball in the middle is a dangerous one. Godding is clearing. Only as far as Moth, who turns it inside for Billum, who beat one but couldn't beat the second, and now Bates will look to launch that counter-attack that we spoke about a moment ago, but McMurdo was well across there to put into touch. Douglas, ball through, looking for the run of Alford in behind, but too much pace on the pass. As things stand, the Redbacks just inch closer towards that top two which will guarantee a home semi-final in the top 4 cup. That said, we don't know what the result of Perth's game is, and Mum FC are playing later now. Nocents making some headway down this right-hand side, but the cross was miscued and behind for a goal kick. Mum FC are playing away at Curtin University, a campus rivalry of sorts there. You can watch that one live on the Football West YouTube channel and Facebook pages straight after this game concludes. Nice turn from McMurdo. Dunn. Pass was wayward, but Dunn does really well to recover there, and then she's fouled by Douglas. Perhaps a little bit of frustration there. Douglas. Early strike was off the outside of the boot and away for a goal kick. 2 losses in a row for Balcatta going into this game after a 4-game unbeaten run. You're going to have to find the back of the net at least once if they are to stop that losing run. By the same token, if the Redbacks can hold on for the 3 points this afternoon, it'll be a 3rd win in 4 games, and this experienced team led by Conrad McKelvey is just starting to motor nicely. They have got some catching up still to do to the top 2, but with some of the players they've got in this team, they'll fancy themselves, I'm sure, in a one-off game against either of those opponents, as Melanie Douglas wins a throw off Diopera just in front of the Balcatta bench, if not a little further up from it. Douglas. Godding with a lovely spin there to get away from her opponent. It'll come back though in the form of Kim Carroll, who's lifting forward for the run of Leota, who just drifted offside, according to the linesman here, Godfrey Maniam. It was a very early flag from the assistant. Didn't quite get the best angle from where we're standing here, so I'll take the official on his word now. McCartney's missed the clearance and Continibali was trying to race through, but Veroni was really good in cover there. McMurdo. Pass over hit for Moth, who turns and gets back into position. Does like to get forward, does Katie Moth, down that right-hand side, as we saw last week with that goal, but in doing so sometimes she has left a bit of space for Alford in this first half in particular. McCartney. Nossent. Plenty of space to run into. She's got Douglas ahead of her, who's turning on the edge of the area and getting the early shot off, but that's over Diedrichson's bar. Just get the sense that Caitlin Douglas is going to strike at every opportunity she gets when she's in and around that 20-yard sort of area, just outside the penalty area. Good anticipation from McCartney there. Clip through, was looking for Penea. Bates nearly brought that one down, but Sarah Carroll stepped in well to snuff out the danger. And now what can the Redbacks do on the counter-attack? It's Leota to Billum. Ball was too far in front of Moth for her to run on to. Ball from Carroll stayed in play for Janelle St. Pierre. Tinibali. Carroll again. All forward looking for the run of Leota, a little too wide of her teammate. Second half of this game, not quite up with the tempo that we saw in that first half. Neither team yet to have a chance on goal, but Balcatta have been doing a lot of the pressing. Douglas's shot was probably the best opening we have seen, and that was a pot shot of sorts from range. Beautiful day for football here in the West, and I'm sure the women are enjoying the conditions out there as well. spring does start on Tuesday, so hopefully most of that winter weather that's so difficult to play in has disappeared by then, as Dunn's clearance is only as far as Douglas, who tries to lob Diedrichsen ambitiously, and they had the experienced stopper just scrambling back towards the goal line for a minute. Scored that stunning consolation goal as well at home against Mum FC last week, did Caitlin Douglas. That solo strike was proving what she is capable of doing, as Nossens and Alberts try to link up down the right. Ball forward from Carroll is a good looking one. Now Douglas is off and away here, but the touch just got away from her, unfortunately, for the Redbacks fans. Raking left-footed pass from Carroll there, just took everybody out, essentially. It's amazing for the Redbacks that they have somebody with such experience and technical ability to call upon. It's a tremendous thing for this competition as well. Still very embryonic, but plenty of excitement as we head into the final month of the regular season. Douglas and Godding one-on-one down the right, inside for Leos. Her pass inside was in between two Balcatta midfielders, and in the end they come away with it through Douglas, who was tracking back in assistance. Now Nossen has a chance to maraud forward into space again. She's got Alberts on her outside, but the pass didn't get out there. And that was a disappointing breakdown for the visitors on the counter. They had numbers forward as well, as the home team play their way out from the back. Now Billum tries to look up and pick out the run of Douglas, but Alford was charging it down. Carroll. Douglas will do well to keep that one in play. She didn't quite. Looks as though the hosts are preparing their first change of the afternoon. Kazan Mulder is just having a chat with Conrad McKelvey at the bottom of your picture. No doubt just getting some final instructions now. That was a wild back pass from St. Pierre, and Diedrichsen couldn't react quickly enough, and Balcatta get a gift of a set piece here, essentially. Something out of nothing for the visitors. Can they capitalise? Douglas's corner. Up was Carroll. Completing the clearance was the other Carroll, Sarah. Now Veroni. Alford. Sliced away by Dunn. Alford will lead the race to get there first. Brave play from McMurdo to keep it alive. It was only as far as Diopera, though, and now inside the pass goes for Bates. Into the feet of Godding. Promising build up for Balcatta, but Leosa was back, and defending really well, and then Godding was enthusiastic in trying to win possession back. In the end, it forced a clearance up the line, which went straight to this afternoon's visitors, who are just starting to press up the field a little higher at the start of this second period. Still the Redbacks 1, Balcatta FC 0. Visitors on the charge though. Douglas's shot, charge down. Carroll elects to use her goalkeeper, who was under pressure from Panea, but that was excellent distribution from the back to find the chest of Leota, who brings Moth into the game, and we know she likes to run forward, but didn't really have the ideal support. Now coming the other way, about Balcatta, really end-to-end feel about this at the moment as Douglas peels wide right. She clips into the area. Dunn had to put a foot in, and it was a vital intervention in the end. Now Godding will try and loop one up and towards goal, but that was sailed over Diedrichson's bar pretty harmlessly. Now the Redbacks do make that first change of the afternoon. It's Lauren Continubali who departs for the afternoon, and she'll be replaced by Kazan Mulder, who came off the bench last week to score essentially direct from a corner kick down at Subiaco. It's the only goal in her 4 appearances this season, and she'll just slot in over on that left-hand side that Continubali has vacated, and then the winger has just gone down the race here, so possibly feeling an injury of sorts there. Hopefully nothing too serious and just a knock. McMurdo's ball forward, 2 Balcatta defenders there. Should have sorted it out, and then the flamboyant footwork from Veroni there to get out of a tricky situation with Douglas putting on the pressure. Bates. Alford. And Godding wins the throwing off McMurdo. Been a really good head-to-head battle to watch in the middle of the park this afternoon. The Godding and McMurdo battle. 2 really combative players who wear their hearts on their sleeve and aren't scared to get involved in a heavy challenge or two. Here is McMurdo putting the pressure on. Godding was charging it down. Douglas, time to turn. Well challenged by Billum, though, who looks to link up with Mulder, her first real involvement of the afternoon, but Douglas got back and defended really well, which is what you like to see from your number 10, which is largely where she's played this afternoon. She's had that free roll in front of the midfield and behind the striker to drift out wide as and when she pleases. Now Douglas will lift one looking for Sarah Carroll. Came to Mulder, who played a dangerous first time ball over the top for Carroll, but she's offside as she lifts over Dal Bosco and puts into the back of the net. A few cheers of encouragement from the home fans though. Last season's Women's Premier League Golden Boot winner as well with 18 goals was Sarah Carroll. Somewhat surprising then that she's been on a drought of 5 games leading into today's fixture. Well and truly into this maiden NPLW WA season, the second round of fixtures. Every team has played each other once, and this is the second game of the reverse round, so to speak. A 1-1 draw in the earlier game at Grindleford Reserve. Now there's a player down behind the play for Northern Redbacks. Just trying to get a view as to who that is. I think it's Melanie Douglas. She'll get a little bit of attention from the physio, and players will take advantage of this pause to draw breath and get a refreshment. Hydration, obviously super important. Been a really frantic pace to this game, end to end. Balcatta not quite counter-attacking with the same gusto we saw in the first half, but it's a really nice day here in the west. Still warm when you do get out in that sun. The Redbacks currently leading by a 1-0, of course. A goal provided to them by Sarah Carroll. And just while Melanie Douglas is down, still retrieving some treatment, just a reminder, NTC versus Fremantle City, the early kickoff today. We won't give you any spoilers of that one, just in case you wanted to tune in later. Subiaco and Perth playing at the same time as this game, and then Curtin University and Murdoch University Melville in the 5 p.m. kickoff. And next Friday night, I'm back on women's NPL commentary duties for the Friday night top of the table clash between Mum FC and Perth Soccer Club. Really looking forward to that one. Should be a really good game, and one that I'm sure the Redbacks will be looking forward to if they can hang on and get the 3 points today. A chance for one of the teams above them to drop points, or both potentially. They've still got a little bit of work to do first, though, as Douglas is now back on her feet. Play is restarted. The Redbacks playing with 10 for the moment. No substitute activated off the bench just yet. Douglas looks as though she's going to be okay to continue, I think. Come back to that shortly as Panea puts forward, looking for the run of Alberts, who showed a little bit of dash to break through the defensive line. Ball was far too close for Diedrichson, though. Carroll. To Kim Carroll. Now St. Pierre. Done. Ball forward was cleared by Veroni. Bates did well to win the 50-50, and then Diopera's pass for Alford was short, and I'm not sure what the person on Balcatta's bench is complaining about. Referee Salos Fury just going over to calm things down. I'm not sure what those remonstrations were about, but fair to say there was possibly a disagreement in opinion. Anyway, we carry on as Balcatta look to respond in this game. Alberts' ball through was wayward of any teammate. Kim Carroll. Back it comes from McCartney. Godin couldn't bring it under control, and now Dunn will try to feed that one out wide, but it's cut out by Diopra. Douglas is back on the pitch now and tracking back. Looks to be no lasting damage, thankfully, from that knock a moment ago as Diopra and Douglas try to link up. Stepping in was McMurdo. Ball over the top. Douglas is still getting back into position after dropping back to defend. Leosa's ball forward, works out well, finds the feet of Mulder in the end via a deflection, and she'll look to scoot down this left-hand side. Cross was a dangerous one. Douglas is at the back post. Just wouldn't quite come down for Melanie Douglas, though, and that allowed Goding to step in, and now Balcatta will try and play their way out. But once again, that relentless Redbacks pressure is really good. Although the referee did spot a handball from Sean Billum in the mix of all of that. Douglas charging forward. She fancies it from here. It's a driving strike from Douglas. It was always going over the bar, you feel, but once again a sighter for the Perth Glory striker. A little bit of uncertainty, of course, surrounding the W League, unfortunately, with the way that the game has gone here in recent times in Australia. But one of the positives is that we are getting to see plenty of these players who have played for Glory in the W League getting an opportunity at this level to pass on their experience and add some high quality to the competition as Redbacks turn to the bench for the second time this afternoon. It was Emma McMurdo who exited the pitch, and on in her place was Jana Ridley. Redbacks Junior, who spent some time at the NTC, back at the club now. Just the one goal this season earlier on in the 4-3 defeat against NTC. I did start the game at Dorrien Gardens a few weeks ago, but it's been unseen the previous two, so good to see her making her comeback off the pine. Looks as though Ridley has slotted into that centre forward position, and Leota has dropped a little bit deeper to sit next to Sarah Carroll and Sean Billum. Here she is now, Ridley. Ball was looking for a fellow substitute, Mulder. Alberts with a lovely turn to outfox St. Pierre there, and she's got room to gallop into. The cross for Douglas was an enticing one, but Moth was back and defending well, and now Sarah Carroll will try and launch the counter. How's that for a turn from Billum, who absolutely outfoxes her opponent in midfield, but just couldn't quite feed the pass through to Mulder. Been some tremendous skill on show this afternoon from the players. Billum with a lovely turn just then, and one in the first half in particular from Monique Diopera in the fullback position, really twisting and turning her way out of the attention of two would-be defenders. Noscent doing really well to win possession back for Balcatta. They've got three players ahead of her here. One of them's Panea. The cross was a dangerous one for Alford, and Diedrichsen stuck a glove out and reeled it in at the second attempt. Just another word of warning that Balcatta are capable of that really fast breaking counter-attacking style, and you feel as if as Balcatta press higher and higher in the search for an equaliser, it may just leave the door open at the other end for the Redbacks to possibly get a second. Now Douglas is in plenty of space. She managed to keep the ball in according to the linesman, and then Billum's ball was looking for Ridley, cleared away by Veronian. Now Noscent's got a paddock of space in the centre of the park here. If she looks up, she's got Bates to her left. She has to retreat back and wait for the support of Godding, who finds Douglas, who lifts over the top for Alberts, who snuck forward from full back. Ball into the middle is a dangerous one. It nearly fell to Carroll. Alford is trying to make room for a shot. In fact, it was Noscent who continued to run forward, and then the shot was blocked by Dunn, and away it goes for the Redbacks. Godding, Noscent just getting a little higher up the pitch. I think she switched with Alberts down that right-hand side, that relationship that we did speak about in the first half. Really good linking up throughout the afternoon and all season, of course. Moth, Sarah Carroll. Turning back and giving it back to Moth, who elects to use her goalkeeper and start again. Redbacks just doing what we were saying that they were doing a little bit towards the end of that first half in particular, just trying to keep the ball, take the sting out of Balcatta's desire to play fast, open football. And Douglas looked to have won the 50-50 with Diopera there, but then the linesman's flag was up on this near side. Spotted an infringement that we couldn't quite see from our commentary position. In fact, the ball had just crossed the line. There was no free kick there, apologies. As Diopera gets us restarted. Last touch off Melanie Douglas. Alford into the feet of Panea, who's got time to spin and turn. Lovely releasing ball here for Alford down this left-hand channel. The cross into the middle. Alberts is there, and then Bates was arriving, but once again Balcatta got to the edge of the area. They just couldn't quite keep the head over the ball though, and up and over Diedrichsen's goal it went. Got into several good positions this afternoon, have the visitors, but only really one save of note that Diedrichsen has had to make. That diving block low to her left from Alford in the first half. Very steady pair of hands at the back. Diedrichsen, part of Perth Glory's W League squad a decade ago. Plenty of experience with Queen's Park as well, and is deputised very ably for Aquino in the game she's had to be a part of. This is her fourth of the campaign. As Billum looks to play a diagonal for the run of Douglas. It was nearly a nice pick out, but Diopra read that very well, and she'll try and steal possession back, but the last touch was off her, and it will be a Redbacks throw. Still the Redbacks 1, Balcatta FC 0. Live on the Football West YouTube channel and Facebook pages this afternoon. Tommy Dolman here with you at Kingsway Reserve. One of 4 NPLW WA matches live this afternoon. On a beautiful winter's afternoon in Perth. Last touch there off Sarah Carroll gives possession back to Balcatta. Still fighting hard here. Lisa Tanner just offering up some words of encouragement as Renee Leosa nearly takes out a teammate on the bench. Alford. Little 1-2 with Panea. Moth was reading the danger and hooking into touch. Still time here for the visitors if they can manufacture another chance or two. Douglas. Nossent skips inside the full-back, cross into the area. Dangerous one. Dunn was in the right spot there to hoist high and away. Only as far as Douglas. Nossent will battle for possession. No foul. And Billum will get back and help and play that one off Nossent and out for a throw-in. Veroni gave Douglas a sniff of a steal there, and in the end it worked out well enough as Moth comes across and puts into touch before the ball could arrive to Alford. Getting helped up by Douglas. Downfield it goes. Balcatta just trying to build a little bit of momentum for these closing stages. Still chasing that equaliser that would stop that 2-game losing run. It's Nossent's cross. It's a looping ball. I'm not sure if it was a cross or a shot, but April Nossent has scored her first goal of the season. And it draws Balcatta level here at Kingsway Reserve. Redbacks 1, Balcatta 1. Well, we were sensing that Balcatta were building a little bit of momentum for these closing stages, and up steps April Nossent, who shaped a cross, and in the end it sailed straight over Diedrichson's head and nestled in the back of the net, and that gives Balcatta a an equalising goal that they're going to cherish, you'd think, leading into the final stages, although they'll try and counter-attack now through Douglas and Godding, who's on the march. Douglas has continued to run forward. She should get on the end of this one. She does, and the strike is sliced off the outside of the boot. Pass was probably a little heavy from Godding on that charging counter-attack, but once again, the visitors just scything through the hosts' midfield. Really are set up for a superb finish to this afternoon's football here. Redbacks 1, Balcatta 1. Big battle in the race for top 4 places, and possibly the race for a home semi-final as well, with 5 games of the season remaining after today. Kim Carroll finds Ridley, who skips inside, looks to feed in for Melanie Douglas, who tries to roll. It may yet break for Ridley, and Douglas, who stuck out a leg and got a toe on it, but couldn't generate the power needed to test our Busco. Both teams really going all out to win this one this afternoon. Carroll. Pass cut out by Godding, who looks to slip in Douglas, who was beaten to the ball by Dunn, and now Balcatta's clearance at the other end is only as far as Leosa, who's got Mulder on her outside. Can she keep it alive? She can. She elects to cross first time. Diopera heads away. Sarah Carroll. Leota striking. Busco was scrambling across her goal for a minute there and looked a little unsure as to whether that was going to drift wide or not, but harmlessly so in the end. First substitution for Balcatta this afternoon is one that comes on the left-hand side of midfielders. The dangerous Georgia Alford comes off, and on replacing her is Sophie Bolingbroke. Douglas wins the 50-50 with Moth. Panea's running ahead of her. She's got time to turn and try and pick out the return. Bolingbroke was nearly on the scene and looking to make an instant impact. And now the Redbacks will try and get some counter-attack going at the other end, but Ridley elects to hold it up instead and wait for the support to get forward. Now Kim Carroll switches for Melanie Douglas, but that's cut out by Bates, who continues to grind and do everything possible to win. Dunn went into the 50-50 with Bolingbroke and then won a second 50-50 with Bates. Not sure if 2 50-50s as a whole, but either way, excellent defending from Dunn, who again is diving in and winning that header. She's had an outstanding game in the Redbacks defence today as Emily Dunn. Billum under pressure from Bolingbroke. Last touch off Bates. Redbacks crowd here just geeing up the players for one final push. Can they find a winner? Can either team find a winner? Been a great game of football here this afternoon at Kingsway. Will there be a late twist? Pass looking for Alberts was cut out by Carroll. Balcatta will look to counter again. Now Carroll will step forward and she's got Melanie Douglas wide open on this right-hand side. She'll cut inside and get the strike off early in the end. I think she was a little unsure as to whether she wanted to go full tilt at that strike or whether to try and slip in Ridley. Douglas's flick may just work out for Sophie Bolingbroke. It does. She tries to skip away from Moth, who was adjudged to have stuck out an arm and then kicked the ball away and picked up the afternoon's first yellow card. Douglas is on the ball here and looking to whip in something of real quality here for the visitors, who play Curtin at home next week before an away trip against Perth at Dorrien Gardens, and then back at home once again against the NTC. Plenty of players forward for Balcatta. It's Douglas's ball. It's a dangerous one. Dunn was at the front and centre of it all once again and doing diligent work in defence. Dopra's ball forward, cleared by Carroll. Hoisted forward by Noscent, who was covering the centre of defence for McCartney. Douglas charging forward, striking Carroll. What a tremendous block that was, and now Mulder will battle up against two Balcatta players for possession. Bolingbroke stayed onside there, and she'll face up to Moth one-on-one again, but this time the fullback wins the day. Douglas keeps it alive. Ridley turning and getting away from Veroni. Looks to bring Billum forward in support. McCartney's just got to clear her lines any old how. And then Diopra's pass wasn't quite kept in by Godding, so now the Redbacks get a chance to get some bodies forward laid on, but the throw was taken super quick by Douglas, and that'll be the end of the game. Really good game, a really good entertaining game of football here at Kingsway Reserve this afternoon, where it's finished Northern Redbacks 1, Balcatta FC 1. First half goal from Sarah Carroll put the hosts in front, her first goal since the reverse fixture against Balcatta. She does like playing against this team, evidently, but Balcatta had their moments in that first half. Douglas shot straight at Diedrichson, and Alford forced the veteran stopper into a tremendous save down low to her right. And then into the second half, the game took a little bit longer to warm up after the break, but in the end, a really frenetic pace and tempo to the second period. Balcatta countered hard all day. They were driving down the flanks and through the middle, and the Redbacks were biting back with equal competence. But in the end, April Noscent got forward from full back. She drove towards the area, looked up, she shaped across. It ended up sailing into the roof of the net. If it was a shot, it was a superb one. And a goal which gives Balcatta FC a point, which ends a 2-game losing run. The Redbacks remain unbeaten in 4 games, but I'll be disappointed not to hold on to the 3 points they're having worked so hard to get the lead earlier in the game. Don't forget, Curtin University versus Mum FC in the 5 p.m. kickoff. You can watch that straight after we go off air here live on the Football West YouTube channel and Facebook pages. But for now, thanks for joining us here at Kingsway Reserve. Really good game of football. I've enjoyed it. Hope you guys at home have as well. It's finished Northern Redbacks 1, Balcatta FC 1. Good night.